Thanks for watching Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're at the yard. It's been raining for about the last 2 or 3 weeks, so we've been getting some good rains. I showed you some pictures of the tank. My pond here is filled up, and a lot of them I've dug out in the country's full. So truck looks pretty good. I even had time to wax the truck and kind of make it shine a little bit. Still going to get it painted so I can get some signs put on there, but hadn't waxed it in a while, so it shined up pretty good. But I guess retirement is out of the question for a few years. Yes, this is a brand new one that was delivered this morning. Thought I'd kind of give you a little walk around, do some more later today. I got some appointments I got to meet, so I started to say, because it's been raining a lot, I usually spend money when it's raining, but this deal has been in the works since December last year. I decided probably better if I was going to keep running and working for other people, I might as well have something that's don't break down, that I can get some work done. So that ought to do it. So I bit the bullet and decided to trade the 750K in. They don't make a K no more. They're a 750L now. So it's got 10 more horsepower than the K had, and it's probably 10,000 pounds heavier than the K was, and they've changed some stuff up on it. Got the severe duty tracks on there, which are just a little bit heavier tracks than what I had on that K and everything, and went with the John Deere rippers. They said they would do everything that the Vail rippers did, so I changed brand of rippers. I had Vail on all 4 of my John Deeres and have never had a bit of trouble. I broke one shank when that K was brand new. I was in some sand rock and it was a faulty shank, so going to try the Vail rippers for a while. I think they'll hold up. They look, this beam's a whole lot bigger than what was on the Vail ripper, so only thing that they didn't have a place where I could hook up my little hitch back here, so I've got to get that welder come out here and put that on there. And why they didn't put that, the other one had a 1.25 inch piece of metal here, and then it was drilled out, and I had a drawbar that made I could just put it on there and bolt it on there, so I've got to get that done on there and burn off some of that yellow paint. Hoping that, I mean, it looks like it's a plenty tough enough ripper and everything. The shanks look big as what the Vail had, and bigger pins and everything. So they've changed some stuff on it, up on them, since I've had, like I say, that K is 7 years old. And one thing they've done, this blade arm was a little bit narrow and rounded off, and this thing right here was rounded off, and if you stepped on them wrong and had your feet wet or something, you'd slide right off of that thing. And matter of fact, on that 750K, I slid off one day. My boots was wet, and I got up on it, and it was rounded off and not very narrow. Of course, they had this deal on there, but it was down here lower. But my leg went down in there, it was stuck, and then I fell over backwards. Luckily, good Lord was watching after me, because I mean, I was out in the middle of nowhere and I heard something pop. I thought I'd broke my leg, but it took me a while to get out of that predicament. Finally pulled myself up. Nothing was broke, but it sure was sore, and I was in the dozer truck, so it was my clutch foot, so I had to use the clutch on the way in. But the more I used it, the better off it was, so it wasn't too bad. But anyway, you sure wouldn't want to do that right there. That would really hurt, catch your leg on that one. But anyway, so the blade arms look like they're wider and they're just about as deep, so that's one difference I noticed. And I did have them split the hoses and put me a connection in here So when I put my grubber on there, I can just undo the hoses here and leave this part up and that part up instead of having to go down there. But they've made that easier to get into. The grill on my other one, the whole deal folded back, and it was just pretty tough to raise that up. But now this one, you undo 4 bolts and it's on hinges, and you can hinge it out and clean everything up. And of course, to get that out, then you've got to take all, but you shouldn't have to be down there for nothing. It looks like it's pretty good little ways to the radiator back there. I hadn't played around with that and got in there yet, but and they did do away with the lights up here, which that was the first thing that got broke up there when you're in brush. So that they've changed that up. Of course, this right here is for the put that deal for your automatic blade control and all that, and your grade system. On the other one, it had that, and I cut that off and put my ears for my brush rake right there. I've still got to decide whether to leave that on there and just weld my ears to this or what to do. I hadn't decided yet. I am going to try to do something up here over the blade. I've thought about it for many a year. Putting something up here across the top. Not a lot of times, time I get these ears up here, I've got another piece of metal that's sticking up here, then it goes down, it comes up, goes down, and there's just so much. When a tree comes over that blade, it tries to get wrapped around all that. And I'm not doing it to keep the trees out, but just to keep it where it's easier. It's easier to get a tree when it's back here without it being stuck in this and around that. And they've got these hoses. That's a whole lot heavier deal than what I had. But if you get too big a limb, a lot of times you can't see what's going on from up there, what's going on right here. So they said they did have an aftermarket deal that come up here pretty good, and it's for them Forestry Service dozers that when they come up to a tree or something and tie on, and they got winches on the back, but they tie up to a big tree. But basically, I'd like to have something up as high as this across, and then come down, make it look nice up there, and brace it up right there. And there's one thing I'm thinking about, it might help when you're pushing wet dirt up a slope. You'd never think about it, because I've had dirt stacked up 2 foot higher than this blade when it's rolling up, going up a slope. But when you're got dry, crumbly dirt and going up a slope, as soon as it gets to this height right here, over the blade it goes. And that don't sound like it makes up a lot of difference, but over a day's time, all the dirt that goes over the blade, instead of going up on top of the dam, just that extra 10 inches would keep a lot more dirt stacked in front of your blade, loose dirt anyway. So like I say, wet dirt that's got moisture, it's not gonna make no difference, because that dirt's standing up 2 foot tall anyway. It never goes back on you, but your loose dirt does. And looks like they've made this, okay, this one's a little bit longer for some reason. They used to just be this wide, but this one I guess is protecting where your hoses are back there. It never showed down on the other one. I guess it keeps the dirt from going down into that box. And that was a problem with that other one. You'd get dirt down in there, but that's the one thing bad. If a tree, of course, usually I got a brush rake on, and I don't, but you don't have a brush rake on all the time that you're in trees. If you're going around a fence line or something, you're not raking brush, you're knocking trees over. And you want something to keep that stuff from getting down, hung up in all of this stuff. Usually if you can see it, you can stop it, but still, if something falls over that blade and lands on that hose right there, there's enough give to it, I hope, but that's the only thing holding it up from getting wedged in here. But I'll have to study that a little bit more. And he said that deal that the Forestry Service dozers have is pretty good size up here, but it's not solid. You could put a piece of metal on there, but I don't think that would be that big a deal to put a piece of metal up here. And it don't have to be curved this, because the dirt's going to keep curving in front of it if it rides up on here. It's just to keep it from going back. So this part here could be straight up here, then just brace between here and there. I don't know. I may be thinking too much, but I've always wanted to try that. And then when you're back off here looking at that dozer, you don't see none of that stuff above the blade. You'll see just metal come up all the way across and then slope down to the edges. So I think it'll really help when you're pushing dry dirt up a slope. You'll keep that much more dirt in front of everything. So I did, this one has a to adjust the pitch on it. The other one, I might use it, I don't know. Usually on my rake, everything's set. Or when my hookups determine the pitch on your rake, you want your brush rake sitting. Your cutting edge is on the bottom beam of your rake, and then there's a distance between here and there. You want that brush rake straight up and down when you're raking. You want the teeth to go in the ground perpendicular, I guess, or 90 degrees from when you're raking brush. It looks like the body is deeper, which it just may be metal. I know it seemed like it hangs down farther, and it may be a little farther to the front. I measured that other one roughly from the center of that pin to the edge of the frame was 22 inches, and that may be just a little less. That's what I was trying to figure out. If that's a grubber ought to fit, I'll find that out here. I think I'm fixing to do some grubbing, and that's what I dreaded doing. I didn't want to do any grubbing with a new bulldozer, because at least for a little bit, didn't want to get it scratched up. But you do what you got to do. You got to pay for the thing. So they changed the doors up. They made the doors a little bit bigger for access. I like stepping up on that. That's better than that little old thin deal. And the air cleaner's a whole lot littler, and it's more forward. It was back here, and the exhaust pipe's littler. Okay, one thing they did do, they used to be that way, and they did away with it. There used to be a metal plate here between the radiator and the engine. And what that did, when your fans reversed to blow everything out, the fans, of course the fans are in front of the radiator. When they reverse to blow your grass and stuff off the front of your radiator, that piece of metal there kind of confined this compartment, but it also didn't allow anything to be blowed back here on the engine. So that's been done away with. I like that idea. It kind of seemed like it kind of kept a lot of your trash from getting to your engine. But that did open that up where you could, your belts and everything, but that still has to come off. And that's a straight radiator. Before they were V-shaped radiators. You had two on this side and two on the other side, and they was at an angle, so that's something they've changed up. And that may help keep the trash out of there, since it's a one straight radiator across, and instead of being two radiators at an angle, it had a hydraulic oil cooler, and then a radiator. Then on the other side, it had a radiator, then another cooler on the outside of it. And I didn't see where your other cooler, that other dozer had a cooler for the fuel, and I couldn't ever figure that out. One compartment, the batteries they just swapped sides. The batteries used to be on the right and the def tank used to be on the left. Now the batteries are on the left and the def tank is on the right. Kind of changed, and here's your fuses and everything. They were down here, and this compartment here was the door where your air cleaners was, and one side had your fuses and one side had your air cleaners, which I never did like nothing down here, because you talk about a lot of dust and dirt and stuff that these tracks throw up was just being sucked in there. So now they put the air cleaner back in the engine compartment, so there's nothing here on either side except just a step. And there may be a little bit more clearance right here, which that's a good thing. And there's definitely more clearance back here. But still, there's not much room here in these. They was put there for safety, but that's the first thing. If you got a stump coming up through here, hung on your track or something, or you're looking on one side and you back up and you've got something coming alongside that track and it gets to here where you can't see it, it's going to bend this up, and so that may come off pretty quick. As wide as MR, that does kind of handy to grab a hold of. So batteries are there. Both your hydraulic and your transmission filters are together now. They used to be one on one side, one on the other. Got the beacon light. I guess if I'm ever somewhere someone needs to see me flashing, I can turn it on. And it goes down and goes up, which that's what I was concerned about, because that'd be the first thing I'd knock off in a pile of brush, the beacon light. And I can take it off. They've changed the condenser up and kind of made everything more compact. Mother one had some guards on it, but he said he would check and see what kind of guards was available. Now your def tank's on the right, and there's your hydraulic oil tank. It used to be in the back, and you filled it up here on top, so they put that inside. In the wintertime, that was the place you could really get warmed up while you're filling up your machine, because this was the tank on the old ones with the fill valve. You could lean up against this. Your hydraulic tank was on one side, your transmission tank, and you could lean up here and kind of get warmed up in the wintertime when you was outside. So now you just got to climb in the cab and turn the heater on, I guess. So anyway, there's all your three of your fuel filters. They got all of them together. They used to be one next to the engine, then you had one on one side, one on the other side. So they've got all of them together right now. So that makes it kind of convenient. This is one of the filters that was the same on the K. Then they've got two different ones. So I'll have to see if I've got any filters for the old one. I may have to exchange them. I can't do that. I mean, I don't know if the rails are a little taller or not on this thing. Here's the air filter now. It's on the inside, which in one big filter and one little filter instead of two little filters. And mess, like I say, they had a door here that raised up, so that's a whole lot more sturdier step. That other one, I'd hit it before and stuff and things. It was pretty loose, but now that's pretty heavy right there. That's not gonna tear up, or if it is, you're not watching very close what's going on. So There's a lot of room in there. There's just nothing but space. Engine oil, alternator. Kind of curious what the difference is in the cooling of the radiator with it being at a V, straight across instead of a V. Got the halogen lights up here. I guess that's not halogen. LED. So we'll get in the cab. I don't know, maybe do that today, or we'll get in there and try to move it around a little bit. And when I get to running that thing, it's a little bit different what I'm used to. But that's the addition to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. That's my channel name. The company's name's Dunsmore Dozer Services LLC. So kind of confusing sometimes. I'll start to say one and mean the other, but my channel name's Dunsmore Moving Dirt. So I'm anxious to get that thing in some dirt and see what it'll do. Get the deadgum paint knocked off the blade. But the first thing I'm going to do is take that cutting edge off and put one that I've already got hard surfaced and everything. But I want to tell you what, that's just like that stuff you step on where you don't slip around. And the first time you hit that with some dirt, it's just going to stop. Ooh, there's no roll to it at all, but surely I can wear that out. But it might take a little longer now because it's been raining so much, all the ground's wet and everything. So anyway, we'll continue on with this walk around on the new bulldozer and everything, and just wanted to show you what was delivered this morning and see if we can't get it out in the country and seeing what it's like. And we get ready to get in there and start it up and drive around. We'll make some more videos of it as we kind of get it broke in and figure out what we're doing, something different. So anyway, thanks for watching this channel. If you hadn't subscribed, wish you'd do that and help this channel grow. And remember, my blade's not shiny now, but hopefully it will be here in next week or two. So talk to y'all later. Bye.